Hi there and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Plesk Mailserver on Kamatera. If this is your first time using Plesk on Kamatera, I have a video for how to install Plesk using the Kamatera Plesk app. And in that video, I showed you how to set up Plesk and set up the name servers. So as we are speaking, I've already set up my name servers to point to my current server. So I've set it up to point to my current IP. The only thing I need to do now is to add the domain on Plesk. So I'll come back to Plesk and I'm using this view. You can switch your view to the service provider, but I'm going to use the power user view. So here under websites and domains, the domain that I'll be using as my DNS, I want to add it here. And this will ensure that Plesk is responsible for DNS for my server. And that's what you want when you're running a mail server with Plesk. So I'm just going to add domain. So I'll add the link for that Plesk. I'll add the link for that Plesk Kamatera video in the description below and in the comments below. You have to watch that because it shows you how you can set up your DNS on Plesk. So let me first of all enable the firewall. So I'll come here under extensions and I'll just save and proceed. And I want to install the Plesk Firewall. So I can search for firewall. Get it for free. All right, so the firewall is installed. I can just click there to look at the settings, but the default options are okay for me. I will leave it like that. Firewall protection, of course, enable it. Any firewall rules added via the IP tables utility will be overwritten. So if you enable this and you want to add any rules, always come and add them via Plesk. So I'm just going to apply. So the next thing, let's confirm if Plesk has the mail server enabled. So to do that, you just come here under tools and settings. And then let's look for mail, go to mail server settings. And you want to ensure that Plesk has enabled mail management functions. So for me, it's already enabled, so I don't need to do anything else. I'll leave it like that. Anything else that you want to change here, you can do so. Let's see if there's anything that I want to change. Here I can click to fix incorrectly set sender for outgoing mail. That's the only thing that I'm going to select there. So you can also put limitations on outgoing mail. If your mail is being used by other people, definitely put some limitations for outgoing mail. In this case, I'll just leave it unchecked, but in your situation, if you're using this mail server with other people, make sure you turn on limitations. And then you can enter the limitations there. DMARC, definitely that should be checked by default. SPF is also enabled. All right, so that's pretty much it for this part. I'm just going to click OK to get out of the mail settings, mail server settings. And when you're running a mail server, you need to make sure that your reverse DNS is set up correctly. So if you want to set up your reverse DNS on Kamatera, I believe you have to contact support. I'm not sure about that, but I didn't see the option for changing the name server here. So that means you should contact support. So make sure you contact support and give them your host name. In my case, I want to use this host name. Let me copy this, copy, and I'll come here, Control V, panel dot. So I want to use this as my server host name. So make sure you go to Kamatera contact support and have them change your reverse DNS for your IP, because that is important for mail delivery. If you want your mail to go into the inbox, that's one of the things you have to do. And then after doing that, you also need to come to your server, log into your server. And no, even before I do this, actually, Plesk is going to help me do this. The only thing I need to ensure before I ask Plesk to help me setting up my new host name, I have to ensure that at least the DNS records for that are pointed correctly. So I'll come to that domain, the domain that I want to use as the host name, and then I will go into hosting and DNS, and then here I'll come into DNS. What I want to set up here is a new record. So I'm going to add a new record. Click there on add record, and I want to add an A record that points to panel, and it's going to point to the IP address. So I'll get the IP from Kamatera, copy, come back to Plesk, paste the IP there, and then okay. So I'll update, and I can also apply. So I need to confirm that this is resolvable before I can change my host name, because I want it to issue SSL at the same time. It is changing the host name, and you can see it is now resolving, and you can confirm that by going to DNS checker. Go to DNS checker. I want to confirm my A record search. There you go. It's pointed to my server. And this means that now if I come back to Plesk, I can have Plesk change my host name. Currently, after installing it, that is a host name that you were given by default. So definitely you want to use a real host name that comes back to your server. A custom host name, that is. So let me go to tools and settings once again. And then here I need to change my server settings. And you can see this is currently the host name. So I'm just going to change the current host name to that. So anything else you want to change here about your server, feel free to do so. The only thing I'm interested in is that. And then I'm going to save. And once you do that, let's come back to the server and let's just confirm cat/etc/hosts. Let's see what's been added here. And there you go. Plesk has also added it there as our host name, which is a good thing. That's something we want. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Plesk. And now we can test mail. Let's see if we can create a mail account and send mail. And then we'll also try and do that with a second domain. So for the second domain, I've also changed the host name to point to that. So the moment I add it, it should work by default. So I'm just going to come back and go here under mail. All right. So this is because I've just changed my host name. So this is no longer pointing to Plesk. So if I want to log in, I need to log in again. So I need to log in once again. So I'm going to use my new panel host name. And the username, using this password, copy, I'm just going to log in with the root, Control V, enter. There you go. Now you're logged in with your new host name. And what we were doing was creating a new mail account. So I'll go back to mail, and then I can now create a new email address with a domain that already exists. So let's say I want to create an email here. I'll just call it Sam. I'll just call it sam@virtualsudo.com, and then I can use the same password, paste. Of course, you want to limit the size for email accounts. So I'm going to give this 100 MB, and then okay. First thing first, let's come here and test webmail. All right, so this is expected. Webmail is not running on SSL, and that is because I need to go back. I need to go to the domain itself. So let's go back to the domain, and I want to issue SSL for this domain, including mail SSL. So I'm going to come here. If I scroll down, you can see there SSL certificate not secured. So I can click on that. And I can get certificate, and this should automatically provision. Okay, so I don't want to install any of this. So I should have just gone straight away to Let's Encrypt. So I'm going to install Let's Encrypt, and make sure you add a domain. Make sure you use a legitimate email. Otherwise, Let's Encrypt might not issue SSL successfully. So I'll secure wildcard domain, including www and webmail, and then secure. Let's first of all uncheck that, and then secure mail on this domain, and then I can check that, and then get it for free. Let's continue. All right, so that's good. So here you can see webmail is now secured, www, and that is also secured. Okay, so you can also enable this so that it will automatically issue Let's Encrypt SSL if any certificate is expired, or if you're using a self-signed certificate. So make sure you check that. You can also enable that, and that is important for web, but we are only interested in mail. So let's go back to mail, and here I will click again on webmail, and this time around you can see SSL is working, and that's what we want. So paste the password there. Let's try and send. Send. So I will send an email sample, just to confirm that my mail is working. So since our reverse DNS is not set up, this is probably going to end up in the spam folder. So make sure you reach out to Kamatera, and Kamatera usually opens port 25. That's why I'm doing this video on Kamatera. Port 25 is open on Kamatera. So just as I thought, you can see the email is in the spam folder. And before I do anything, I can just report not spam, and then I can reply to it. Yes, it is here. Send. The reply has arrived. All right, so confirmed, we can send and receive mail. So what else? Let's come back and let's see where you can enable SpamAssassin, because that's important for a mail server. So if you want to enable SpamAssassin, first of all, you're going to have to install it. And then once you install it, it will be enabled by default. So to install it, go to Tools and Settings. And then where is it? Let me just confirm that. I think it's under Updates. Let's look at Updates. Yeah, it's here. So you can add and remove components. So click there on Add and Remove Components. And then go all the way down to Mail Server, Mail Hosting, and you'll see that there are other things you can add here, right? Plesk, antivirus. If it's free, why not install it? And then SpamAssassin, that's what brought us here. So I'm just going to click on install. If you want to change your IMAP server, you can use DevCot or Courier. All these other items, you can look at them and see what else you're interested in changing about your Plesk server. For me, I wanted to enable SpamAssassin, so I'm just going to come down and click on continue. So I'll just let that continue. I know it will work. So let's come back here. I want to add the other domain as a test, right? So even before I add this domain, let's see with the other domain, how you can add it to your mail client, like Thunderbird, for example. So since I'm on Linux, definitely Thunderbird is the way to go. If you're using the others and you're having problems, use Thunderbird. So I'm going to come back to Plesk, and I will go back to mail. And here under mail, there's this mail client setup. So you can look at the given settings for your mail client. So usually it will automatically pick up the settings. At least I know that for Thunderbird. But if you need the manual setup, you can click there and you can use this for your manual setup. So all I need is my password and my mail. So I can click there once again, and I'll just copy. You can also copy the setup wizard link for whichever one you want to set up. So let me go to manual. I want to copy the email. So let's open Thunderbird. Thunderbird works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, so it doesn't really matter where you're following along. I will add a new account, mail account, add the email, and then I also need the password. Paste and go, and then continue. And you'll see the configurations are successful. So you can continue. I'll just click done, and that's going to add this email here. I can click finish, and of course I'll go into inbox, and the email I sent is here. I can send another one, new message, send it to the same email, subject hello. I'll just send hello and then send it. So since I had already set up SSL with Let's Encrypt, you're not going to face any issue if you do the same as well. If you don't, you're going to face an issue there. So let's come back and just confirm that our email has arrived. There we go. It was sent from that domain. I can reply back, Danke. And then I will send. And then let's check inbox. Okay, there we go. It's arrived. So that's that. We've confirmed we can use that domain. Now let's add another domain. Copy. I'll come back to Plesk. And I want to add this as a mail domain, but here's a secret. If you want to automatically connect your email to mail client, like I did with this email, with Plesk, that is, if you want it to automatically pick it up like that, it's only going to work if you add the domain as a website as well. So let's come here under web, and we're going to add a domain, and I'll just add a blank website. I can leave those as they are and then add domain. So this is not going to work automatically for you if you have not set up the DNS on Plesk. So watch the first video for how to set up that DNS. All right. So since I've done that, let's come here, and first thing I want to do actually is to set up SSL. So I'm going to click on it. And I will install a free SSL for this. Secure the domain name. Secure mail for this domain. Secure wildcard, all of that. And then get it for free. So if it fails, it means that my DNS records have not propagated yet. That's the only reason it could fail. So let's continue. So let's confirm if the SSL was issued successfully. Let's encrypt. Secured, secured, secured. All right. So you see everything is working as it should. Now let's go and create an email for this new domain. So I'll come back to mail, and I can create email address. I'll just use the same password. Copy. I'll use Sam as well, but I'll choose this domain. Put in the password. Size limitation needs to be effected here, and then I'm going to make that 100 MB and then okay. So the next thing is to test. So let's go and log in to webmail for this. I'll enter the password, login. I will send to the same Gmail. Okay, so since I marked the other one as not spam, this one did not end up in spam because probably the IP has some little bit of trust. So I'm going to reply received, send. There you go. So the last test, almost the last test before I end the video, let's see if we can automatically add it to Thunderbird. So I will add a new account, account settings, new account, mail account, and then I believe the password is copied here. So I'll paste the password there and let me get the email. I'll get the email from there, copy, paste, and then continue. There you go. It will be added automatically. Just click done. So just as I said, if you don't add the domain as a website as well, it will not be, you won't be able to add it automatically like that. You'll have to do it manually, and that usually just gives a lot of issues, a lot of problems here and there. You might find that it doesn't work. So if you don't know how to do it manually, make sure you add it as a domain as well. If you only add it as a mail on Plesk, as a mail website on Plesk, then it will not be able to automatically get the settings for your mail server added on Thunderbird. So the inbox, we've already tested. We know it works. I've already tested this. I know it works. So there's no point of sending another email. And I believe this is a part where I can end the video. This is enough to get you started. Okay, if you're wondering if you can use Plesk as your mail server, yes, you can. You can use Plesk as your mail server on Kamatera because Kamatera does not block port 25. So that's the reason I did the video on Kamatera. All right, so that's pretty much it for this one. If you have any questions, let me know. If you need help setting up a server, bizanosa.com. Until next time.